Hello, good morning. We need to talk about friendships, and I sometimes don't know why I do this to myself and start off the video with my hair in the turban towel every single time, but of course I just came out of the shower. It is Friday. It is another summer in the city weekend, and I'm gonna be seeing a lot of my friends this weekend, so I was like, what topic should I talk about throughout this vlog? Got me thinking about friendships. You guys have been asking me about it. So this is what I do. I go on my community tab and I ask you guys, friendships. What do you guys need advice on? What do you guys need tips on? I have never gotten this many questions regarding friendships. You guys, let me check right now and see how many comments I actually got on this because it's insane. 92 comments, and I'm telling you, like, y'all went into details. Like, I keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So what I did was I went through all of them. I pulled the ones that I think are very relevant and prevalent right now. I don't know how many I'm gonna get into. We might have to do a freaking part 2. We have a lot to talk about. We have how to keep friendships alive / maintaining friendships, red flags that we should be looking for in friendships, how to distance yourself from people who may not be on the same path as you, best way to express your concerns for friends. I talk about the reality of making friendships, especially female friendships. How not to compare your set of friendships or lack thereof with everyone else that you see around you who might have all of these friend groups. Talk about jealousy and hate. We're gonna talk about a lot of things. And listen, I am no absolute pro at friendships, but I'll give you this. I'm 27 years old. I have had many friendships in my life. I've had good friendships. I've had bad friendships. I've shown up shitty in friendships. I've shown up very good in friendships. I have gone through a lot of things. So I want to give you my best advice and tips, and also a lot of things that I have learned from people who are much wiser than me as well, especially my somatic therapist, because she gives me so many good tips when it comes to friendships. Hopefully this video will help you navigate friendships, because I feel like we're all struggling, clearly. So I'm gonna quickly get ready because I have a book meeting. I want to film another video after this. We're gonna be talking about people pleasing, so make sure that you're subscribed to the channel because we have a lot of good videos coming out soon. And also, I do have a podcast. If you are new here, you can watch me on YouTube now, which is the Glow Up Secrets podcast. It'll be linked in the description. Everything is always linked, or you can just find my podcast on Spotify and Apple. And I'm just gonna show you the podcast art that one of my friends actually got me. This is like a little housewarming gift, and she printed my podcast art on this little, I don't know, thing here, and I put it like on my table and I just look at it every day. It's so freaking cute. So that's what it looks like if you're wondering what my podcast looks like. So I'm gonna be going to one of my friend's places tonight. We're gonna have dinner at her place, and we're actually just gonna do a lot of like business work and stuff. We always talk about content creation and just like all the business side of things. She's also a content creator. Her name is Tess Barclay. If you don't know her, if you're Toronto based, I feel like you might know her. So I need to get ready. Like I already said, I need to get ready for like a video and stuff, but I don't know, whatever. If you're wondering where I'm looking, I'm just looking at the mirror, and I'm using Ilia foundation. I always talk about it. I freaking love it. I don't use foundation that often, but when I do, I love using this because it's just so light. It like doesn't even, like, you can't really tell. It just gives you a little bit of a whatever. This is not even a makeup tutorial. Why am I, all right, whatever. Let's get to the first question. So someone asked how to keep your friendships alive, and a lot of you guys asked like how to maintain friendships. And it's funny because I was literally talking to my somatic therapist about this the other day when I was walking down near the waterfront, and then I ran into her, which was so interesting. And we were talking about friendships, and she was saying how, like, you know, with most friendships or relationships in general, but like let's say definitely friendships, there's usually like this 90-10 balance that you have, or this 90-10 split that you have. It might be like 80-20, whatever. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. And this is what I mean. Like, you know, you might have a friend who's like always reaching out and always making plans or whatever. And then there's another friend who's kind of like more laid back. And I don't mean the friend who doesn't give an F. I just mean like for the most part, maybe like there's one friend who's like a little bit more social. So they're usually asking to go out before you even do. Like maybe they're just asking you before you even get to it. So there's usually some sort of friend that's kind of leading. And that honestly is fine. Like, you know, you're usually gonna have somebody who leads a little bit more than the other. What tends to be the struggle is when the person that is leading no longer wants to lead, or they wanna fall back and they wanna have more of that balance. And that is when communication is so key in relationships, because you might start off a friendship, and when I mean relationship, we're using it interchangeably. I'm talking about friendships here. Usually what happens is you sometimes start friendships being that leader and then somebody being the follower, and you guys maybe not even being aware of the state that you're in, like you are the leader or you are the follower. It just kind of happens naturally. And if you don't start to have conversations around that and start to express when, hey, like I'm usually the leader, and you know, like I have like periods in my life where I'm gonna wanna like slow down and like I'm gonna need you to maybe lead a little bit more. I've literally had conversations with one of my best friends about this, how, you know, maybe I'm more in the masculine, or naturally when she comes around me, she feels like she can just relax more and I can take control or charge. And I don't really, it sounds kind of weird, but I just mean like make more of the plans and stuff. And I was realizing actually that I was getting a little bit overwhelmed being in a friendship where I felt energetically, every time that I was around her, I felt like she was waiting for me to take the lead. And so I expressed that to her, and she's like, oh, I didn't even know that you felt like that. And she started becoming aware of like, yeah, I guess I do, when I'm around you, feel like I can kind of just like chill and like you're gonna take the reins. And it's not a bad thing, it's just naturally sometimes that's what happens. And this is really to put blame technically on both parts, right? It's to put blame on the person who doesn't recognize that maybe they're always naturally taking the lead, but also maybe to put a little bit of blame on the person who's like not realizing like, okay, I'm falling into this side of chilling and not putting in a lot of effort. The problem that a lot of people have is they don't talk about this. You don't talk to your friends about how you're feeling, or you talk to your friends about how you're feeling in this place of like, you're making me feel like this, or you're not putting in the work, or you're not X, Y, and Z. And then nothing really good will come out of conversations like that when you're basically putting the blame on someone else. So I think it's really important that you always have self-awareness of how you play a role in a relationship, and it always is you and the other person. It is never just the other person. And something that I've realized over the years as I've grown up, like, you know, as much as I want to blame, you know, the toxic friends or the friends who are not showing up, well, how did I play a role in this? How did I allow us to get to this state? Now, there's going to be times where you realize that maybe you're the leader and you want to relax a little bit and you want to have more of that balance, but that other person doesn't care to take on that role of like making the plans a little bit more, or, you know, really stepping up when you need them. And then that's when you have to look at the type of friends that you're making, or the type of person that you're wanting to be friends with, and see maybe this is not aligned. But I think a lot of times, truly, what we need in our friendships is not just ditching the person and walking away and trying to find someone else and then being upset that no one else, you know, shows up the way that we do, but simply learning how to communicate and having conversations, open and honest conversations with our friends. And I honestly think that a lot of people struggle with this, because when you actually tell your friends, or tell even like romantic partners how you feel, you're vulnerable. You start to feel more seen than you ever have. And it's funny because there's this epidemic of us wanting to have connection and wanting to be in relationships, friendships, romantic, but at the same time, deathly afraid of being seen, deathly afraid of actually letting people in. And that has been my story. I always said, I want friendships, I want girlfriends, I want even relationships, whatever. But as soon as people came very close to me, I was like subconsciously, without me realizing, I was doing behaviors that said, don't come near me. So, you know, you want to see how you play a role in your friendships, and how maybe you are closing that door, or maybe you are not stepping up and communicating. And again, when you're communicating with your friends, it's not from this place of like, you are making me feel like this and like you need to change. It's simply just expressing like, hey, this is how I've been feeling lately, you know, like I feel like I love this friendship. I love showing up for you. I love making plans. I love doing everything. But, you know, sometimes there's things on my plate that make me feel like I just don't have the energy to make the plans or to take that step forward. And I don't want to lose this friendship. So, you know, I'm just wondering, like, are you able to kind of show up on the days that I can't? It's not about like you need to or you should do it. It's just exploring like where that other person is at it, and if they even see things the same way as you. And then that's when you can take that step of being like, okay, we can probably move forward, and or maybe this friendship is not going to be for me anymore. Thing is, you can't expect people to show up. You can't expect people to lead you if you've always been the leader without actually expressing. And this is the same thing when it comes to like dating men or whatever gender you freaking date. But like, you know, we sometimes expect people to literally read our minds, and it's like, that's not it. As much as our friends, yes, we want them to read our minds and they should know like how we're feeling. If we don't tell them how we're feeling. We can't get upset with them when they're not texting us and showing up for us and reaching out. We can express to them that we like more of that, but if we don't do that, then no wonder that we're in friendships where we feel very disconnected. By the way, I've been using this new blush and it's from Winky Lux. I will have it on my Like to Know It, it's linked, and it's this cheeky rose blush in the color Crown. It is, I've been using the Pixie blushes all summer, which love it. I mixed the coral with the light pink. It was such a good like little vibe, but I think like for the end of summer right now, this color is it for me. And it honestly, it sits on the face better than the other blush. Anyways, whatever. I'm just letting you know that's what I'm putting on my face. Someone also asked me like red flags that you should be looking for within friendships. And I think that this is actually very huge. And another thing I'll talk to my somatic therapist about. And like the truth is, when you always meet people at the level that you kind of are, even if you don't realize it. So like you have all these shadows, you have all of these maybe either insecurities or things that you need to kind of work through or do the work on. And you kind of attract the people that might be a reflection to you of what you need to see within your shadow. So you might attract people who you know aren't like the best and you're like, well, why do I keep tracking these people? Well, maybe there's a part of you, a shadow part of you that needs to be integrated. And this is what I mean. Like sometimes people will attract people who don't put them first. Like you think that, you know, like the friend that you're with, like never puts you first, whatever. And the truth is, you might have this deep subconscious belief that you aren't worthy of being put first. Or maybe in your childhood, you were never put first. So subconsciously, you expect everyone to not actually put you first. And until you start to do some more shadow work and start to reprogram the way that you actually subconsciously think about yourself, not consciously, you'll tend to recreate the same type of relationship patterns. And this goes for romantic as well. If you have subconsciously been feeling in your life like you are not chosen, you will usually recreate that same pattern in your romantic life in your adulthood. And this can stem from childhood. This was me as well. Like my father didn't really choose me. My mother, when she was going through her addictions, didn't prioritize me. I had this deep internal feeling of never being chosen, never being cared about, having people consistent in my life, all of those things. Subconsciously, that does something to your self-concept. And you walk around the world ending up kind of recreating and attracting the same type of people who are going to treat you the same because that's literally all you know. That's what you recognize. And until you start to see the same person showing up in different ways in your life through either friends or romantic partners, you can start to see, hey, maybe it's not these people, maybe it has something to do with me. And I don't actually mean for one to blame yourself, because you're not, it is. We all have like traumas and things we have to work on. But two, it's not to say that these people are not actually not prioritizing you, but you keep attracting these same people. Why? There's something within you that is the attraction point. And I think that once I really started to do more inner work on myself, to see my shadows, to see how I was actually residing in a lot of unworthiness, and started to stand more into my worth and start loving myself more, naturally I started putting myself in places, and on top of that, not even putting myself in places, but falling off of friendships that were no longer serving me. Finally standing up and saying, hey, like this friendship doesn't work for me. I don't like these topics. I don't like spending my time here, whatever. And I naturally found my tribe because I became more of myself. I became more authentic to who I was. I stopped spending time talking and wasting my time doing things I didn't want. So anyways, when it comes to red flags that you can find in friendships, I think like one of them is definitely like what you guys are bonding over. So like, are you guys just talking about things that are super negative? And I don't even mean just blaming the other person, because you always have a part in it too, right? It's totally fine. I definitely used to have more party friends. I would have friends who we would really only connect by gossiping about other people, or only caring about boys, or very self-critical or judgmental of themselves or even myself. And this is not to say that you're gonna find a perfectly like perfect human being, a perfect friend. They're gonna have their flaws, they're gonna have their opinions, whatever. But if you find that you're only connecting, let's say by partying, you're only going out to party together, or you're only talking about negative topics like toxic men, or how to make money very quickly, but like you guys aren't actually hitting in your goals, you're not taking care of yourselves, or you only want to go to places in which there's like it girls, or just you care about vanity metrics and things like that. Again, there's a time and a place, but like that's kind of red flags, because if you're starting off your relationship literally bonding over things that aren't actually really important in life, then that's going to be your relationship. And you know, I thought that I could have healthy friendships with girls who did live a life of, like, let's say, like, I live downtown Toronto. So if some of you guys know the Toronto girls, listen, I'm a Toronto girl technically, but like, I mean like the nightlife Toronto girls. Like and it's not to say that these girls are not beautiful, amazing people in their own way. They are, but you know, I started to realize that the friend groups that they were moving around, the men that they were dating, the things that they would be doing in their free times, didn't align with me. And I tried to like fit in, and I tried to hold on to friendships with girls who live this lifestyle. But I realized that the only time that I was really able to hang out with them was only if we were partying and drinking, and honestly anything that didn't actually make me feel good. And again, this is not to mean that you can't have friends who you party with and you drink with and you go out and have a good time. I have many friends who I do that with, that's very healthy, and I have amazing time with them. But there's those specific people that you're just starting these friendships with, and you're expecting more than that, and you really shouldn't. And I had to let go of those friends, and it sucks because there's parts of them that are like super good, but it's like, realistically, this is not the type of friendships that I want, because at the end of the day, when it comes to something that's really, really important in your life, a lot of these times these people can't hold space for you. I also just think like red flags in friendships is like not actually having conversations about how you guys are in friendships. The same way like it's important to have conversations with men about what you're looking for and what they're looking for and how they are in relationships, and what, you know, what you want in a relationship and your future and your goals and like all of these very important things. If you're not having these conversations with your friends as well, like that's kind of a red flag to me. Like if you're just, again, just party friends talking about toxic shit, not going deeper, not going below the surface, then I think that usually tends to lead not somewhere where you end up wanting to go. And on that note, somebody had asked how to respectfully distance yourself from someone who you don't want to be the friend anymore. And also someone asked like how to express your concerns or tell your friends that they're not making the best decisions, like in a good way. So when you, let's say, realize that you are in a friendship where it's not the friendship that you ended up like wanting, I think that there's a few things that you can do. For one, you got to take responsibility for how you showed up and how you played a role and the things that you weren't aware of. This is not to get mad at yourself. This is not to shame yourself. It just is what it is. You met this person at this time where maybe you had some unintegrated shadows, you weren't aware, whatever it is. It's fine. It happens all the time. This is how we learn and we grow as human beings. But because we are going to take responsibility for how we've shown up in a friendship, because it does take two, I do think when you start to feel like you guys are going different ways, then it's time to communicate that with your friend. And listen, I will tell you guys this for free 99. I had one specific friendship where it was absolutely going like this, and I knew that way before I actually said anything. And the downfall of that friendship, it wasn't the best. I mean, I ended up communicating the best way that I absolutely could when it was time, but I'm not proud of that. Like, I definitely wish that I said things much sooner. And honestly, I knew, and this is the reason why I kind of didn't say anything, because I knew that this friendship wasn't gonna go to the end of time. I just knew that this person was completely different than me, and I met her at a time where it just like, you know, whatever it was. So there was a part of me that was kind of like, it doesn't really matter for me to communicate my needs or like what I'm feeling, because I kind of like am hoping that this friendship is gonna go away, and eventually, like, I know it will. But that doesn't mean that you should not communicate, because you still connected and you still bonded with this person, and I just think that you should have that respect and take that accountability to say what you mean, because I think a lot of the times when we don't communicate too, it's because like sometimes we just realize like that friendship is not going to work out until we kind of hope that we just get distance. But I think that there ends up being a lot of animosity, there ends up being a lot of grudges, there ends up just being a lot of tension that really doesn't need to be there. Like, I think that we need to start to be more mature, and just, it's not about communicating to try and save a friendship if you really don't think that there's saving there. It's about communicating your needs and wants and being like, hey, like, I see myself going in this direction. It's not about being like, look at your life and it's crap. You simply just be like, hey, like, I think that, you know, the things that you're wanting to do with your life, I'm not really enjoying those things anymore. And, you know, we can try and do things the way that I'm trying to do them, more healthier, more whatever, integrated, but I don't even want to change you. I'm not trying to force you. I'm also trying not to judge what you're doing in your life. And this is the thing when it comes to like telling your friends that like you don't like what they're doing. You have to understand that people are on their own journey. And that's what I had to understand about this one friend too. It's like, you know, it's not about me. And yes, maybe I don't fully agree with the way that you live your life, partying, unhealed traumas, inner work that needs to be done. That is your own journey. And I'm not gonna try and change that. I just need to let you know that I'm on this journey right now, and it doesn't feel like a true friendship to me, and I want that. That's what I'm looking for. Now, depending on the type of friendship that you have, maybe you do want to work on things, so you are simply just communicating. But maybe it's like you say your piece, you communicate, it's no love lost, but I'm gonna go in this direction, and that is that. It is simply like a breakup, and I know they're not fun, but I mean, at the end of the day, like, you can't just keep staying in friendships, because this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna start to hold grudges, you're gonna have animosity, you're gonna be annoyed by this person in a lot of ways, you're gonna hold on, you're gonna bottle things up, and there's no need to be in that type of relationship. Honestly, would you really be like that in a romantic relationship? Probably not. You probably wouldn't want that. Same thing goes with friendships. Now, I don't even know why I try and do my makeup, because I literally can't talk and do my makeup at the exact same time. I'm gonna put I put gel on my eyebrows, guys, and it's Eco Styler gel. Okay, I've been using it for years. It is cheap. I also put Eco Styler gel in my hair sometimes, so that's why I use it. Like, that's why I started using it. I didn't just buy it just for my eyebrows, but I'm gonna finish getting ready, and then I wanna talk about the reality of making female friendships and so much more. So I will see you in a bit. Hello, it is a little bit later, but I am ready to go to Tessa's house. So I don't know why I needed to come on here and tell you guys that I'm going for a walk, but I'm going for a walk to Tessa's house. And I literally love walking. It's probably gonna take me like 50 minutes to an hour to walk. And to me, when I hear that, I'm just like, good, it's like a 15-minute walk, like no problem. But I always listen to a podcast. It honestly feels like fall out today. So I'm gonna wear my White Fox hoodie and my other jacket that I always wear on Instagram from American Eagle, and I'm waiting for them to restock it so I can link it for you guys, because every single one of you needs to get the Sherpa sweater that I have from American Eagle, because it's really a jacket, but like, I don't know, whatever, it's amazing. So yeah, we're gonna go and enjoy the hot girl walk. I'm gonna listen to probably What's the Juice podcast. That's another really good podcast for women when it comes to health, if you're really interested in health podcasts. And yeah, I will see you there. I guess I can tell you guys what I'm wearing. I'm wearing this shirt from Dynamite. I got it a long time ago, but I love it. I love Dynamite. I should go back. Actually, I should not. I don't need any more clothes. I should not go back. And then these leggings from Lululemon, they're like flare leggings, so comfortable. The leggings are on my Like to Know It. I don't think I'd be able to find the top because, like I said, it's old. Don't mind my jeans and everything hanging. I need a freaking hanging rack. If anyone has any recommendations, please let me know. I need to find one on Amazon most likely. But yeah. All right, let's go. Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday morning. Well, at least it's Saturday when I am filming this. I am about to go to spin class with 2 of my friends. I'm on the ground right now because I'm actually gonna stretch before I go because I did a very heavy leg day yesterday, and I'm just like really making sure that I get good recovery, and I have never done spin in my life before. So I already know I'm gonna be damn sore. And on top of that, I do so much walking, and even yesterday, like I walked basically an hour there and an hour back at Tessa's, so I'm not trying to be so sore where I can't actually go back to the gym and do my actual training, which is the most important to me. But before I go, I figured we'd talk a little bit more about friendships, especially since I had just hung out with Tess. It was so good just catching up with her, and like, I talk about this all the time. My friends and I, the ones who get it. The girls who get it. And I think, honestly, Tess is somebody who literally thinks the exact same way as me. And she's also a Scorpio though. But I want to talk about attracting the right people, because you guys had asked me, I'm pulling up my notes here because there's literally so many freaking questions. How do I make friends with healthier people? And listen, I really think a lot of things, a lot of people, a lot of experiences are deep down, whether we know it or not, reflections of ourselves. This is not to mean that if you have crappy people in your life, you are a crappy person and you would treat them the same way as they're treating you, which would be really shitty, things like that. I'm not saying that. And even when I had the example of like, I used to have certain party friends, I technically was not a party girl. But the thing is, I still decided to put myself around people who were not aligned with my true values and morals. I was a people pleaser. I didn't communicate, which a people pleasing video is coming actually soon, very soon. And so as much as, yes, maybe it was these people and they weren't as healthy for me, I was still making that decision to put myself in those places. And the reason why I say this is because I really see the friends that are around me right now, and I didn't even really have to try very hard to attract these people. And they are so aligned, so healthy, so completely different than the friends that I used to have. And it's because it's a reflection of me. So I'll give you a quick backstory, the way that I met Tess, because a lot of you guys are asking like, how do I meet friends? I don't know where to meet girls. And I was talking to Tess about this too, and she fully agreed with me. So when I decided that I wanted to change my life more, I wanted to make my life more so like my career, and I wanted to become a content creator, I decided to get very clear with the vision that I held for myself. I wanted to eventually go full time. I wanted to be in this content creator space, this, that. So I decided eventually I was going to leave my corporate job and then just work as a server and then just grind it out and build my social media until I went full time. In that moment, I decided I was no longer going to put myself in places where I was wasting my time around people who didn't align to me. I decided to put my time and attention and prioritize the things that really mattered to me in the moment. And so yeah, I did spend a lot of my weekends not partying and instead working on my business or working on my goals. I decided to start working on my wellness routines and getting the proper sleep and getting off my phone so much and just really focusing on myself and taking care of myself and healing myself. The more times I spent doing that, the closer I got to my goals, which was one of them being content creation. Now, as I was in my grind, last summer, I started getting more brand deals because I was growing on TikTok and I was aligning. And one of the brand deals that I did was with Bumble. I've worked with them a lot of times, and one of them was a really cool experience that I got to do. Honestly, it was like one of the most important. I really should try and reach out to them again, or like get my management to reach out to them again and like do something like this, because this is really cool. So they were launching their Bumble BFF side of their app, and I'm pretty sure some of you guys know, like there's dating, but then you can also like connect with girlfriends. By the way, if that's something that you're interested in, Bumble BFF. I think it's around most cities. You can sign up and just like meet girls that way. So they were launching that, and they wanted to use certain Toronto creators to promote it, but also to promote their own like little Bumble group. And then you would get a bunch of girls who already follow you maybe in the area, and they would come into this group. And that way you can talk, you can share ideas depending on what interests you have, hobbies, but mainly it's also for you to actually meet up and like go on hot girl walks or like do whatever. And for the Bumble collaboration, what they wanted us to do was for a month connect with a bunch of girls and like do meetups and stuff. There's a lot of girls who met up even before the event, but they were like, what we're gonna do is we're gonna sponsor an event for you. So you're gonna hold the event as an influencer, and you're gonna have like 20 to 30 girls come and meet you and then like interact. Not just me, it wasn't like a meet and greet, but like whatever, you were holding it. They covered our drinks, they covered food, and we went to like this place called Rendezvous downtown Toronto, like a little patio thing. It was so cute. If I can pull up the video, I will. And a bunch of girls came out. It was an amazing time. So many girls connected. So many girls after that went out and hung out. I met up with a bunch of other girls. I still follow some of them to this day. Like amazing, amazing. Honestly, I didn't even think about talking about Bumble BFF, but literally like go on there if you really need to. Aside from that though, I had gotten an email from Bumble BFF, and they basically grouped all of the influencers in together, and we kind of met with all of them. I didn't meet with all of them, but like we were all in different emails. And so I saw that Tess was in one of those emails, and I had watched one of her videos a long time ago on YouTube, but I didn't reach out to her. I didn't even really realize she was like in Toronto anymore. I wasn't even in the content creator space, so I kind of just forgot about her. And I saw her name and I'm like, oh my God, like I remember this girl. And I go and follow her, and then I think maybe I reached out to her, she did, I don't know. It was very, very mutual. And we just started talking, being like, hey, like I saw that you're doing this too. This is great. Like we shared whatever. We connected that way. And then we ended up meeting up, and then we obviously clicked and we were super aligned. And ever since, we've been such close friends. The thing is, I didn't need to really try and look for her. The universe just brought her to me. Thank you, universe. Thank you for bringing me Tess. And so, and this has happened multiple times with other people. I'll give you another example. Both of the girls that I'm going to meet. One of the girls, I was looking for condos downtown. This condo actually specifically that I went to go look at in right beginning of spring. I decided to go to the coffee shop right before I left. I was actually very stressed at the coffee shop. I was feeling like my whole life was freaking like, I was like really just over looking for condos, you know, getting down on myself, whatever. And I really do think that actually the universe connected me to Frida, because I just felt like fucking, what am I doing? Like, you know, second guessing everything in my whole entire life. And then as soon as I'm leaving the coffee shop, she stops me and she's like, oh my God, I watch your videos, like whatever, da, da, da. Oh my God, you're amazing. Let's sit down. Well, I came and sat down with her, and then we started talking, and I was giving her advice, and she was asking questions and content creation, and we connected. We were talking about manifesting and all these things. And I think in that moment, honestly, it was just a message from the universe to be like, you are aligned. You're doing exactly what you need to. Somebody stopped you in real life, and like you're having this amazing conversation, whatever. And we connected that way, and we've been friends really ever since, and we've been hanging out and stuff like that. Again, I didn't have to try. Another thing, when I went to Tess's Busy Blooming event like a month or two ago, I met a bunch of girls. I met some of you guys. It was such a beautiful event. I was on the speaking panel, whatever. And then this one girl comes up to me. She's like, oh my gosh, I watch your videos. I didn't even know you're gonna be here, blah, blah, blah. And she had a friend with her, and her name is Niti, and she did not know who I was. But we all just ended up clicking and connecting and whatever. And then what ended up happening is Niti, she's really, really into the content creation space, and she reached out to me and we started talking. We met for coffee, really good conversations, and now we formed a friendship that way. Again, I really didn't try, and I'll give you one more quick thing, which I think is mind-blowing. When I was at the coffee shop with Niti, okay, this is the first time we actually got together and like sat down and had coffee. Tell me how Frida comes to the coffee shop, and she was just like out and about, and she was working, and she just like wanted to get coffee. And Frida is the girl that I met at the coffee shop, other girl that I was telling you about in this freaking example. And then I was like, no freaking way. Oh my gosh, you guys need to meet. Amazing. They connected, and they ended up actually talking, and they realized that they go to Sweat and Tonic a lot. So they ended up going to a spin class, and they connected that way. Friendship made, whatever. Connection made, amazing. Again, don't have to try very hard. You need to start putting yourself in places, not worrying about the outcome, but really thinking about, is this aligned to me? Where am I putting myself in these places? Am I going to coffee shops? Am I working? Am I working on my goals? Am I going to yoga classes, spin classes? Am I going out to the water? Am I actually deeply open to having a conversation? Because that's another thing. There's been so many people in times in my life where people come to me, but I'm really closed off. And I don't mean actually mean, like genuinely, I am a very nice person if you meet me. But like, there's definitely been times in my life where like, I didn't really want to follow up with people. And the thing is, you have to do that. But again, people are so worried about, where am I gonna meet this person, or where am I gonna manifest this man, this, that. This is the thing, you can meet the most healthiest friend at the most random place. You literally never know. Be open and be that vibrational match. And I promise you, the universe is wanting to bring you these people. And now, of course, I'm going to spin with them. But when I was younger, I used to always be like, where do I find good girls and this, that? But it's like, I wasn't the content creator, or I wasn't doing the work, or I wasn't going out and like spending my time doing day things instead of going to nightclubs. Like, I wasn't doing those things, but I was expecting for people like that to show up in my life. It's like, it doesn't really make any sense. But it is going to be important for you to take more of that masculine energy, that action towards things. And I don't mean trying to figure out where that perfect person is going to be in your life, but at least putting yourself in the places and be open to the universe bringing you those people. If you're sitting at home, if you're scrolling on your phone, if you're really like depressed and like not happy with your life, are you really going to attract those people? And another thing, like, I've met a lot of people on social media simply by being open and, you know, looking at content creators and, you know, answering people's messages. I talk to you guys all the time through DMs. Like, you have to really be open with your energy. So with that being said, I'm gonna go see my friends now. We're gonna go to Sweat and Tonic. I am a little bit nervous, honestly, because I just don't know. I think my cardio is pretty good, but like, I don't know, we'll see. I will update you and I'll let you guys know how it goes. It is Sunday, the next day. I figured I would just vlog the rest of my tips today because I don't know, I feel like I've been chatting for so long. I just got back hanging out with Niti and Frida, which were the same girls that I went to spin with. Spin class, by the way, was so freaking good. They played all Britney Spears, which I don't like. I grew up listening to her, so I don't love her music, but it was still so good and like literally felt like a club. Like, I definitely want to go back to another spin class. Like, I feel like outside of doing that for an actual workout, I just think that it's such a fun thing to do. So if you've never been to a spin class, this is your freaking sign. We went to Sweat and Tonic, and yeah, they're also opening a bigger Sweat and Tonic called The Well in Toronto, I think like in October. So I'm kind of excited about that. Like, am I going into my wellness that girl era? Maybe, we will see. I will let you guys know. And this morning they actually came near my place because I live down near the water and they live more like in the actual core. And so we went to Dark Horse, got some coffee and walked near the lakeshore. It was so cute. We took pictures, we just talked, good times. So reading all of your comments, there's definitely something I want to talk about, and that is just in general the reality of having friendships, female friendships, just friendships in general. I think that we have this idea of how friendships should look and how much time we should spend with them, or how they should be showing up in our life, or what we should be doing with such friends. And I think like movies depict this way that you should have friendships and friend groups, and like this is the reality that I came to, especially when it comes to female friendships. A lot of people don't know how to have friendships properly, and we're all trying to figure it out. So your friendships are not going to look picture perfect. Your friendships are not most likely going to be the ones in the movies, and that is absolutely okay. Your friendships might not even look like the other friendships that you might see around you. And by the way, you don't even know how the friendships are the ones that you might be like looking at as goals. Another thing that I've learned on my journey is it is okay to have different friends for different people. Like, for us to expect that our friends should be down to go to parties with us, but also do really wholesome things and also be there for us when we're going through our breakups and every single part of your life, like, it's kind of a lot. And of course we want to have those friends that are basically there for us throughout everything, but most likely you're not going to have a huge friend group that is doing that. Like, I can say I only have like 1 or 2 friends that I think that I could really go to for anything. Other than that, all the other friends, they're going to be just parts of my life and they're going to really fill up my cup. That is totally okay. And someone had asked like how to maintain quality over quantity of friends, how to not compare your friendships to other people who have maybe loads of friends. And again, like, I think that if you have like a friend or two that is basically like a ride or die, somebody that you can go to for anything and do most things with, that's amazing. But you can't expect to have a huge friend group and all the girls think the same, act the same, be in the same mindset as you, and you know, be through every single chapter of your life. Like, it's very difficult, and I think that trying to maintain that ends up being very stressful, and we have this huge expectation of how people should be. And I think that, you know, I look at friendships the same way I look at romantic partners. Like, I'm gonna have one romantic partner at a time, and even within that relationship, I don't expect my romantic partner to be the one who I go to for absolutely every single thing, and also for him to do absolutely every single thing with me. There are certain things that I'm gonna be doing with him, and there's gonna be certain things I'm doing with my friends because it makes more sense, like doing girly things. Like, my man is not gonna do girly things with me. So I think that if you're struggling right now with feeling like your friendships are not what you're expecting them to be, understand that we are all just trying to learn how to have relationships, and on top of that, they don't need to be perfect. They do not need to be flawless, and you don't need to trash all your friendships because they're not perfect, because they're not flawless. Learn how to communicate, learn how to be aligned with the values and the morals and the goals that you have with your life, and you will eventually start to find people who align with you. Make sure that you're open, make sure that you're checking in with yourself and how you are showing up in relationships instead of always putting the blame on other people. And understand life is a journey. There's gonna be so many times, so many periods throughout your life where friends come and go, and that is okay. We don't need to dwell, we don't need to hang on to things that are no longer serving us anymore. And one more thing, you guys were asking, like, what do I do if I'm always getting left out, no one's picking me, and even this tendency to be with friends who might be really jealous or you know, behind the scenes not really support you. I think at the end of the day, there's just gonna be people who don't know how to be good friends. And if you're recognizing that there's certain traits in a person that are clearly not making you feel good, you're gonna need to be the one that removes yourself out of that. You're going to have to be the one to maybe communicate, of course, but maybe understand that these people are not for you, and to find new people instead of sitting here being super upset that people are not choosing you or spending time with you or they're jealous of you. I think what a lot of people do is when they maybe attract certain people like that, like negative people or like not the best friendships, instead of seeing how they also played a role in that relationship, they will drop those friends and they'll continue to manifest the same type of relationships because nothing has changed. Your attraction point has not changed. Again, this is not to say that, like, to put all the blame on you and being like, oh, it's your fault that people are jealous of you, but it's like, stop putting yourself around people who would have tendencies to be jealous of you. And for me personally, I used to be around people who did not support me, but it was really because they didn't even support themselves. They weren't happy with themselves and they wanted to bring me low. I need to start being around people who are successful, who have goals, who are standing in their own worth. And I think what helped me was to really stand back in my worth and to stop putting myself around people and places that were not aligned to me. So there's so many more questions that you guys had asked, and there was a lot of questions regarding friends with the opposite sex, along with trying to balance friendships well in relationships, like a lot to do with that. So I think I'm gonna have to make a second video on this regarding that topic. So please let me know in the comments if that's something that you guys want me to chat on more. And of course, if anything that you heard today you want me to expand on more, let me know. I'm also going to link a few other videos that I already have on friendships. I've given a lot of tips in those videos on how to have a better social life, how to form female connections, things like that. So I'll definitely leave them down below. If you need more content as well, just know that I have a podcast and I post every Thursday on there on that channel, the Glow Up Secrets podcast, but you can also listen to it on Spotify and Apple if you just want to like listen to audio. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I am going to spend the rest of the day probably, I don't know, editing. I need to cook. I don't know, who knows? But follow me on Instagram if you want to see Alicia Gogan. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.